New alignment forward, part 2. I'm walking at 6 a.m. on the 101 in Encinitas, California. The surf is rolling in the background. I can see it over my right shoulder, and boy oh boy, I'm lucky and blessed to live where I get to live and to be able to walk at 6 in the morning on the 101, a classic, California beach town highway, and I get to record a podcast episode, and there's traffic in the background, and I apologize. But this episode is about the part 2, new alignment forward, as some of the new alignment to move forward, to push forward in my content creation, as some of the old motivations were recently slipped away. So listen in.
You know when someone is selling from stage and at the end the audience gets up and rushes to the back of the room to buy? That's a table rush. My name is Misha Z, and the Table Rush Talk Show is all about bringing you the tools, strategies, and tactics that you can use to grow your audience and inspire them to buy.
So first off, welcome any new listeners. Oh my gosh, welcome to my journey. I tend to riff a lot and can go off course, but try to come back on course. But anyway, welcome. And then also, I'm just feeling it right now. Gratitude for all the people who listen and the people who listen and give me feedback now and then. And even if you listen and don't give feedback, that's cool too, because I do know you're out there listening, learning, relating, maybe getting triggered, maybe thinking, who knows what you're thinking sometimes. But thanks for being on this entrepreneurial journey with me, the spiritual journey with me. What a gift. I appreciate you taking the time and listening and having me be part of your day. Yeah, so again, new alignment forward. Some of my motivations, for putting myself out there were perhaps to have exes find me subconsciously, right? Like putting myself out there is like this siren's call for love, validation, whatever. But so funny. I if you've listened to the last few episodes, that a good chunk of that light was shined on it, that is no longer, that part of the motivation is no longer there. And I get to find new motivation forward. And so I had a lull in my episode recordings. And sometimes, man, the content is coming fast and furiously, and I literally can't record episodes fast enough. Like my stream of consciousness is just wide open. I've got stuff to say. I'm willing to say it. I'm willing to riff. I'm willing to put myself out there and throw caution to the wind, and as an act of service and love, just talk about what I'm up to, about my journey. And all of a sudden, some of my motivation to do that was gone. And I can be so scheduled, right? Where I'm like, I have to post 5 episodes a week. I have to do 5 podcast episodes a week, and my life depends on it. And if I'm not doing that, I'm failing. And, all this baggage around that. Like, I gotta be consistent. The only way you're gonna achieve your goals, dreams, and get to where you're trying to go is if you publish five episodes a week. The other interesting thing is, I'm talking this out, is I realize that sometimes that's the one thing that I am doing consistently, so I feel like that's the win. Like that at least is the one thing that I'm doing right. right, as we're trying to build online businesses and build a presence and generate income and get offers out and build funnels, get offers out, get leads, build lead magnets, go speak on podcasts, partner with people, all this stuff. So many things can fall through the crack, and so I have been, generally speaking, most consistent with my podcast and publishing. And I did go through, a phase a bit ago, 6-8 months, a year ago, where I completely just stopped publishing. It was a good 3 months. Oh my gosh, I'd lost track of what I was doing. I was trying to find my way forward. I was working on all this stuff, but it's like I got nothing to say right now. And I finally started up again. But so I was kind of panicking as I'm in this spot of like, oh no, at least the one thing that I was doing was publishing 5 episodes a week. And was my success metric. And it was allowing me to send an email 5 days a week to my email list. Because I'd sorted out or figured out how to repurpose that content, that podcast transcript, into an email newsletter. And so I was just so empowering to feel like I've got that dialed in. People are telling me, oh, you've got that dialed in. This is so great. I'm getting, good feedback on the podcast. I'm getting, good feedback on the emails that I'm sending out. And thank you, ChatGPT, by the way, for helping me convert my podcast episode transcripts into emails, into my daily email. So powerful. I'll do a podcast episode on that one day. Perhaps I'll share with you the exact prompts that I use. So awesome. The exact prompts I use to create my episode show notes, my email. And one thing I can't wait to do as well is, and I already played with the prompts, but converting the podcast transcript into LinkedIn posts, into Facebook posts, Instagram posts. And I played with it and with ChatGPT in doing that. And ChatGPT knows the nuances of all the platforms. So if you have ChatGPT act as your marketing manager, it can write those posts for you in your voice, but appropriate for the platform. So you're not just reposting the exact same thing. ChatGPT is actually optimizing the length of the content, the cadence of the content, etc., for the associated platform. So I've been building to that and being prepared to go, okay, I've got my 5-day-a-week publishing schedule down for my podcast. Now I'm able to take that transcript and turn it into a newsletter 5 days a week. And soon here, I'm going to be able to be pushing out, social media content around that efficiently, effectively. You can do Zapier connections. Like the automations you can do with it now are incredible. Of course, you can always hire a VA to do all that for you. Maybe I'll hire a VA who will do it way efficiently now with all these tools. Anyway, I had a lot riding on my publishing is the point I'm trying to make. I had a lot riding on me publishing 5 podcast episodes a week. And I was way in a groove up until a couple weeks ago, right? Up until I was like, wait a minute, some of my motivations were putting myself out there subconsciously or consciously, and a little bit in the hopes of true love would find me again. It sounds so funny to say it. But once that light was shined on that motivation, once I talked about that motivation, it was interesting. I talked about it to my spiritual mentor, John. I was like, hey, John, it's really interesting, I was calling myself out. I was like, hey, I think some of the reasons that I was, trying to build this online business a little bit, or, put myself out there on podcasting so much, was some of it was in the hopes of, being found by the ex or creating, I don't know. Yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. And I do want to say, I'm here to serve and I'm plowing forward, of course, and wasn't my only motivation. And, sometimes maybe not the best motivations get you started down a path, and then you clean up your motivations, you're on that path, and the path is amazing. Or once you have cleaner motivations, the path becomes that much better. It's kind of like, what are your motivations for getting sober? Sometimes people's motivation to get sober are outside of them. It's like for the wife, for the kids, for the job, which are great reasons. But ultimately, to sustain long-term sobriety, it's got to be for you, number one. And then you got to be in service mindset from there. And so I would relate that to my podcasting experience. Right? It's like some of my motivations to get started perhaps were not purely service oriented, which is cool, but I don't think I need to ramble on about that anymore. I think you get my point. And the bigger point is that I have and had a lot riding on me publishing 5 days a week. Publishing a podcast episode 5 days a week. And all of a sudden, some motivation to do that was gone. And so I was in a little catastrophizing mode. It was like, oh my God, my master plan is going to fall apart. I'm at a loss for new episodes. I'm trying to find my new alignment forward. But I'm like, oh no, what if I never publish again? All of a sudden my daily emails are gonna stop. All of a sudden my master plan for, putting myself out there on the social media more efficiently, more effectively is gonna fall apart. And oh no, my business. So I had to find acceptance around that. And why don't we talk about that on the next episode? All right, everybody, thanks for listening for part 3 and me finding acceptance on, man, I might not be publishing a podcast every day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.